Oh, this is an interesting thing to start off with. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for some more Fade Hollow Ataraxia. I guess us learning about the timeline means we're seeing this. I want to help you, the woman said. She was sincere. The frankness of her confession, unclouded by any trace of impure emotion, brought tears pouring from my eyes as she spoke the words, "I want to free you from your suffering," which made me feel nothing but pessimism. Is that an eyeball? That's a creepy eyeball. I felt neither joy nor gratitude that she had come to save me. That kindness of hers was misdirected, and nothing but an annoyance to me. It wasn't enough to make me despise her, but honestly, I wanted her to run along home to her own world instead. This isn't to say that I hated the woman, but the very principles that guided her actions were wrong. She should have known as well as I did, that she wasn't going to save anyone. She should have known from the start that it was impossible for her to save me. Blank. I responded in a voice you couldn't exactly call a voice. With your throat crushed, it's impossible to make a sound, so I tried shaking my head, until I remembered that I couldn't do that either. Eventually she gave up, and went back above ground. She kept up that contest of endurance for days until gradually she came to realize that she was talking to herself. The one her words were addressed to was just a corpse. What is happening? That's something that happened, apparently. These events I hadn't committed to memory in the first place are now surfacing in my mind because of the similar emotions now being directed towards me. Doubt and mercy. That woman who tries to be so fastidious is holding some sort of ridiculous feeling of obligation towards me, even though she doesn't have a shred of proof as to why she should. Bazett Frega McRemit, that woman who has become Avenger's master, now harbors the same misdirected emotions for me as the woman from back then. Oh, so there was a woman who, in Angry Mango's time, took the brutalized, completely ruined person that was Angry Mango and tried to save him, but couldn't because, well, the whole world hated him. Oh? My heart thundering at the speed of 500% over its usual rate, I barely propel my exhausted body toward the ruins. My throat is burning, the way my right leg's aching after I pushed it to the limits of my endurance and beyond. Come as no surprise to hear that I busted it. I've used up all but the dregs of the magical energy I received from Bazett. My own reserves of strength are starting to come up dry too. Basically, you could say I'm giving up. Can't move another step, and I'm tempted to just quit now. Consequences be damned.
何をしている? ここまで走りなさい, Avenger.
Bazett, who reached the ruins one step ahead of me, comes back outside and shouts at me. Oh, it's those ruins. Grasping for purchase with both hands, I fling myself into the building with all the dignity of a fleeing puppy. The door slams closed behind me. Of course, some little door isn't worth a fart as far as defense goes, considering the monster that's after us. Having that barrier at least gives us the illusion of security, though. Still, such a good sound. I can hear a roar. That must be the big effer we've got on our trail, destroying everything in his path as he pursues us through the forest. Running away to a ruin like this won't save us. Once she catches up, we'll crush the whole place to powder, and both of us along with it. That thing is like a fierce gale. No matter what kind of weapon one is armed with, it's plain to see that no human can cross swords with that and live. In a clearing of the forest, we ran into that monster. No, it'd be better to say that it was waiting there for us. Though set there like a monolith carved out of the stone, the second we stepped foot into its territory, it let out a roar as it came after us. Wow, that's terrifying. The battle was over in 1 second. Never had any great desire to pick a fight with that thing in the first place, but after that first shot, even Bazett realized we couldn't fight it, let alone win. Bazett's not one to back down from a fight, but even after Fragrack failed to score a kill, she wisely and graciously gave the order to retreat. Yeah, because even when you have the ability to shoot out something that's like a quick, near instant kill sort of thing, it doesn't matter when he has 12 lives. Still, you gotta hand it to her. To be able to fight even for a few seconds facing the source of that hellish roar took some serious guts. She recovered in no time and fired off Fragrak while that huge monster's war cry still had me nearly pissing myself. The noble phantasm it has seems to be the type that's always on, because Fragrak activated right away. Her aim was true and her shot struck right in its heart, bringing that fat ass down once and for all. Or at least that's what should have happened. Instead, it had completely revived 10 seconds later and kept charging straight for us. Back from the brink of death in perfect health. In other words, a body that knows no death. That's the big effort's noble phantasm. After she wasted her Fragrak on it, Bazett's whole body went rigid. With her frozen there as that monstrous thing came bearing down on her, I personally think it was awfully nice of me to give her a little push out of harm's way via a flying kick to the side. The pain. Felt like he had barely grazed me, but that was enough to send me flying too. The big guy's sights are now set on me, standing right in its path. I look up to see the axe the size of a Grecian pillar raised over my head. To even think about eating a hit from that would be crazy, and my chances of slipping by unharmed were stupendously low. So then, when things were at their darkest, just as I was thinking that, this must be what they call instant death, who should come to my rescue but the very same Bazett I'd just kicked away from that huge thing. She leveled her second Fragrak at its fate and fired, striking it right between the eyes. Seems like she fired her second Fragrak not to kill, but to try and blind it. But even a huge hole in its face didn't stop that monster or the axe it held. That's when Bazett grabbed me by the hand and made a break for the forest. Throwing off the gloves that Fragrak had burned as she ran, Bazett laid a rune into both legs to let her run faster. Me being the compulsive thief and hoarder that I am, I pick up her trash. That's interesting. He picked up the garbage for seemingly no reason. Is that a character trait, or is there something deeper there? And so, seizing me by the scruff of my neck, Bazett took off running. Seeing as how she's in top physical shape to start with, the blessing of the runes on top of that allowed her to leave that huge monster behind before he could even blink. That only gave us a few seconds head start. Before its eyes had finished healing, it was hot on our trail, as surely as though it was tracking us by scent. Is he narrating to the camera?
ここに逃げ込んだところで、あと数分持たずに追いつかれ殺されるってのが結論だ。
Well, wait, cause even in Stay Night, for some reason he doesn't want to destroy this place.
あれだけ危ないからよ。
This is where they stayed the night, and I don't know why.
人の言うこと聞かないからこんな目に遭うんだぜ。そのあたり反論あるか、マスター。
He's talking to her.
敵の戦力を若干甘く見ていたのは認めます。確かにあんなサーバントがいるとは予想外でした。
Basically, she's saying, OP, please nerf. As his response sounds a little weak, maybe like she's regretting it. Compared to her near total silence from the time we entered the forest till now, this is a veritable world of difference. That's good, makes it easier on me too, but first things first.
いや、ありゃサーバントじゃねえよ。この森に住むただの怪物だ。サーバントになり損なった亡霊みたいなものだと思いな。
No, you're wrong. That is a servant. It literally is.
何を言うのです。
Yeah.
あれはサーバントだ。
Yeah, it clearly is.
この時代の亡霊などではない。宝具も持っていたし、間違いなくアインツベルンのサーバントでしょう。
まあ位置づけ的にはそうなるのか。そっかそっか。競争相手であろうとなかろうと、サーバントはサーバントだったな。
By all rights, trying to figure out what class of servant that monster would be is a waste of time. What we need to focus right now, rather than trying to figure out what the hell that thing is to figure out what the hell we should do about it. Ain't a thing we can do about that big effort, so for now, let's figure out what we're gonna do with ourselves.
どうするマスター
Run.
このままおとなしく殺されてやり直すかそれとも、あのサーバントのマスターを探し出すか
無論、アインツベルンのマスターを探し出します。あのサーバントの周囲には、それらしい気配はありませんでしたから。
城に潜んでるってのは同感だな。けど、城に行くってことは、 あのデカブツをどうにかするってことだぜ。逃げるのか戦うのか。あんたはどうするつもりなんだ？
アベンジャー、正直に言うと私は敵に背を向けるのは苦手です。戦いを挑まれたのなら力を持って打ち破るのが私のスタイルだ。
知ってるよ。これでも長く付き合ってきた方だからな。あんたはいつもカツカツで嫌がる俺を平気で負け戦に導入したじゃんか。
それはあなたの能力がループだと誤解していたからです。あなたがもう少しノーマルなサーバントなら私とて無理強いなどしませんでした。
どうだかな。で、今回もやるわけ？どのみちあのデカブツをどうにかしないと城にはたどり着けないんだから。
I mean, be happy you don't have to play the minigame to get here. That's the tougher thing.
いいえ、私もそこまで無謀ではありません。今までの戦いは勝算があったからこそ通したことです。ですがあの相手には勝算はありません。私とあなたでは相性が悪すぎる。
The strongest servant in this Grail War, like, I mean, in terms of just physical raw power, you know, versus the weakest of all servants. That's a rough matchup. That's pretty rough. I let out a whistle. Just as Bazett said, we are a real bad match against that ginormous thing. My noble phantasm's just no good against it. Up against him, I couldn't survive so much as a single blow. The first strike would be fatal, so if one hit equals death, I can't turn the curse back on him. Anyways, even if he did, you can only do 1 life of damage. On the other hand, we could have Bazett counterattack with Fragrak, but she can only use it 3 times. It's crystal clear now that the monster's noble phantasm allows it to rise from the dead. We don't know yet how many times it's good for, but likely outnumbers the use of Fragrak we got.
それじゃあ戦うってのはなしだな。じゃああとは
追跡を振り切って城を目指すだけでしょう。こちらも目は低いですがゼロというわけではありませんから。
Isn't right about that much. There's still something pretty big that Bazett's overlooking. That monster ain't something you can just ignore. To make it to the castle, we gotta take care of our new buddy somehow.
決まりだな。俺はここに残ってあのデカブツを引きつけて、あんたは一人で城に向かう。オーケー、それなら半々だ。あんたの足ならコースアウトでもしない限りきっと城にたどり着ける。ここからアインツベルンの城は北西に15キロほどだ。ルーンを刻む悲壮は残ってるか？残ってるな。なら問題なしだ。俺が稼げるのはせいぜい1分程度だが、あんた一人だけならそれを10倍にできる。
アベンジャー、私はそんなことは命令していません。私はあなたと城に向かいます。
無茶言うな。そっちの方が俺にはきつい。
I mean, don't you need him at the end to receive the Holy Grail anyways?
正直、あんたの足にはついていけねえんだよ。ここまで逃げてくるのが限界でさ。こっちから先、俺の足に合わせてたら間違いなく追いつかれるぜ。
それはあなたの精神が弱いからです。気合を入れなさい。その気になればまだ走れるはずだ。あなたはいつも諦めが早すぎる。
She really hit me where it hurts. Bazett's quite a gutsy lady.
そりゃあまあ、意地を張れば少しは働けるけど、それでもあんたのスピードについていけないのは本当なんだが。
まったく。なら戦力として考えません。いざとなれば霊体化して私についてきなさい。
Could spirit form keep up? Well, ain't that a clear-headed opinion? Doing that won't do a thing to help either of us, though. So how are we gonna get out of this one? Any other time, we'd just both go about playing the part that works best for us, simple as that. The reason we can't do that now is because a certain someone over here is misunderstanding things in the most boring-ass way possible.
らしくないぜマスター。霊体化して俺だけ助かってどうなる？マスターが殺されたら俺たちはそれで終わりなんだぜ。ならどう考えても足の遅いお荷物を足止めにしてあんたは任務達成するべきだろう。
私はあなたを荷物などと言った覚えはありませんが。
俺がそう思ってんの。何しろ本当に自分一人じゃ動けないからな。
I stick out my left leg to make my point. It was reduced to kibbles and bits by that giant ape when he charged us. That a fourth-rate heroic spirit like me managed to make it all the way here in my own power after that is pretty damn impressive, if I do say so myself. Yep, the gutsy way ain't nothing to sneeze at.
ダメだ。それなら私も残ります。ここであのサーバントを倒す方を取る。私は一人では進まない。ここであなたを置き去りにすることはできない。
Determined. Still doubtful. It's definitely not because of any deep feeling of affection. It's that same man that once reached out to me in a gesture so severely
それは
mistaken.
同情から
いえ、同情なんてしていません。ただ、その傷には私にも責任がある。だから、置き去りにするぐらいなら、私はその責任を取ろうと。
それは違う。いいかマスター。あんたは今自分の目的を果たすためではなく俺を助けるためにここに残ると言った。それはまあ俺からしてみれば悪いことじゃない。助けてもらえるんなら助けてもらいたいけどさ、その動機が負い目から来たものならそれは置き去りよりたちが悪いことなんだ。
負い目ですって？
そう、同情とか憐憫とかそういうの。いいかい人間のお嬢さん。絶望にいる者を救おうとするのなら負の感情で動いてはいけないんだ。負は正でなければ打ち消せない。悲しみに陥った者を悲しみで救い上げても癒されないものがあるんだよ。まあれだな、救った後のデイケアまで受け持つってんなら話は別だが、人間そこまで暇なやつは稀だからな。やっぱり助けるんならどっちにとっても得になる理由じゃないと損ってことだ。
What an interesting way of looking at things that I don't necessarily agree with. Wicked laughter. That's a that's a terrifying sound to hear in the distance. In the distance, I hear the monsters howl. Yeah, it's spooky. Bazett stares fixedly at me, her face blank.
わかりづらかった？なら例えばの話をしよう。ある場所に世界で一番不幸な目に遭っているやつがいるとする。ある日あんたはそいつのことをニュースで知って落ち込んじまうんだが、それは意味のない干渉なんだ。遠い世界の話には関われない。自分には関わりのないところで誰かに不幸な出来事が起きたとしてもあんたは笑っていろ。
That's right. To try and save someone who doesn't exist in your own world would mean to deny that world of yours. That's the logic this world operates on, something that doesn't even bear mentioning. Unrelated humans, unobjecting humans, affirm every misfortune and sorrow by that alone. That inequality cannot be overthrown, so why not just accept the happiness that's built on someone else's sacrifice? Even if it's a truly ugly and wretched life, you're among the blessed. All you can do is smile and accept that's just how it is. Otherwise, it's all for nothing. But live out your whole life opposite that contradiction and that ugliness. What a proper human should do. A human can't save anyone except himself. Saving another person solely for that other person's sake is no better than an excuse worthy of death. Such lip service can't save anyone, but even then, you still believe you can save another. Still chirping stuff like, I want to save another.
そうだ。それでも何かをしたいというのなら、せめて笑いながら救いに行け。
You're gonna save people, at least do it with a smile.
見捨てられないから残るとか、かわいそうだから戻るとか、そういうのは
I
余
see
計
where it's
な
coming
お世
from
話
now.
だ。
I definitely do.
一緒に苦楽を共にしようなんて間違っても抱くなっていうことでさ。
All she needs to share with me is the joy. Coming to save me by bringing me sorrow would nothing but a pain in my ass. What I want is a no questions asked fairy tale ending. Peace and love to exceed even the days of nothing but loss. That's right. Their example like dark and sunken eyes, seeing a bright and shining future in an outstretched hand.
アベンジャー、あなたは
ああ、いや、 脱線しちまったな。
But through going off topic, we understand a bit more your character.
ズバッと言うとさっさと行けってこと。どうせ死んでもまた顔を合わせるんだ。道場で死なれたら気まずいじゃねえか。ほら、アインツベルンのマスターに話があるんだろ。さっさと用件を済ませてこいよ。俺は先に戻ってるから。
He's close by. The storm's coming closer. Better end our little chat post-haste before he shows
な
up.
んだ、まだ何か言わないとダメか。
いいえ、十分です。私のために敵の足止めをお願いします、アベンジャー。
あ、いいよ。じゃ、ちょっくら気合い入れて出迎えるわ。あんたは裏から出ていけよ。
Waving my hand to Bazett, I venture outside. Once she's made up her mind about something, she won't waste a moment's effort on anything unnecessary. She's already forgotten all about me, and it's running at full throttle straight to the castle by now. The Einspern servant will be here any minute. I pull Bazett's glove that I picked up off the ground onto my right hand. Pretty much useless as a glove after Fragrak reduced it to cinders, but what the hell? It might make at least for a good luck charm.
さて、今度こそ真っ二つか。
The moon's white here.
だから来たくないって言ったのにな。くそ。
The weakest under attack by the strongest, this is. There are way too many matchups like this in this Holy War Grail thing. God damn it. In the end, I left him behind. I allowed him to remain there in a place where he was certain to be killed, and raced into the forest alone. I feel no debt towards him. As he said, this was the natural choice. A familiar should be played like a pawn, sacrificed to protect his king. Using one's servant as a shield to prolong your own life is a matter of course. If I'm going to feel indebted to him, it should only be if I fail to reach the castle. Should I fail to live up to the chance at victory he's given me through his servant's devotion, then, and only then. I've already grown accustomed to this, and I do understand. Furthermore, even if Avenger were to die, he'll return to life again. Even if he's killed out here, he'll be returned to the first night again. Nothing to lose, and nothing to regret. Just as before, I, as a Magus of the Association, shall conduct myself in a manner befitting my reputation as a first-rate agent. That was a thing that I don't know what I saw, and yet I feel more pain than usual. These feelings of sentimentality, which I felt once before, now seem to grate against my heart as I grit my teeth in discomfort. In irritation towards both him and myself, I find myself indiscriminately destroying everything in my path. The darkness of the night, the multitude of the trees, and even the castle now visible beyond the forest, it feels like I'd try to shoot them down if I relaxed my grasp of myself, even for a moment. However, it's not those voiceless objects that I want to destroy the most, but...
そうか。
The mirror? Have left him behind. All of a sudden, I find myself wanting to apologize to all those unknown things. Even if it was a natural choice, even if he told me to do so himself, the way I treated him was worse than any hatred or betrayal. Dang, yeah, sentimentality is right. So she's here. The castle gates stand wide open. Without a moment's pause, I hurry inside. I may have left that monster far behind me, but in all likelihood I still have no more than 5 minutes to spare. I must locate the Einspern Master and force their surrender right away. What if she's just chilling at Shiro's house, playing, Animal Crossing on the GameCube while Saber, eats a Pocky? Which is why I need to calm down and gather my wits. My goal isn't to do away with the Master, but to have a few uncertain points clarified. I must ask the Master of the Einsperns, the family acting as the cornerstone of the Holy Grail War, and said to know more about the heroic spirits than any other, about the mystery of the 4 days. It does feel like she knows something, I feel. Storm the entrance to the castle foyer. They should have known we were here the moment we engaged the monster in combat. No need for stealth now.
近い。2階、正面。
As I run towards the staircase, I put on a spare pair of leather gloves. I'm in the thick of enemy territory now. It wouldn't be strange to find a blade at my neck at any moment, and... a strike could come from any direction. An anachronist, long-handled weapon comes swinging down towards me. A halberd. Dodging that deadly ancient weapon, the style of which was beginning to fall out of favor even among knights of the Holy Church, I jump out of the way. Brad! Rad. A voice free of emotion, wielding a weapon that must weigh in excess of 40 kilos as though it were lighter than a feather. No, the awkwardness in her movements is as if she doesn't feel the weight at all. There's no room for doubt. This must be one of the finely honed battle-usage synthetic humans of the Einsburns, a homunculus. Perhaps picking up on my own readiness for battle, the homunculus raises her halberd into the air. There's no time to try and gauge her ability. I have to try and take her down with my first strike. It's the second time I faced off against an Einsburn-made homunculus. Wait, the second time? What was the first? There was a first? And a formidable opponent though she may be, I also know her limits. Must just be in another timeline. Flurry of attacks and defensive counters leaves us still facing against one another. Her strikes with the halberd are like those of a child in a play sword fight, which has nothing to depend on but brute strength. But in addition to that, her raw power is so otherworldly as to be superhuman, transforming her into a force of nature in battle. Though not on the level of the monster out there, one blow from this homunculus would be enough, more than enough, to fatally wound me. A direct hit would likely shatter every bone in my body. Even while parrying the gale force level of her attacks, I managed to land 7 or so punches on her. And though each one contained enough power to have blown her internal organs out through her back, not so much as a flicker of pain shows on the face of the homunculus. I don't know whether that maid uniform of hers is some kind of superb mystic code, or whether she simply doesn't feel pain at all. At any rate, I'll have to break this homunculus's bones to bring her to a standstill. Please don't. I don't want that to happen. Huh? The fire of battle in the homunculus dies down. Her face, as expressionless as it was filled with a strong drive, suddenly drains of its former tension as... Oh. Huh. A young girl appears on the top of the staircase. Her hair is white as snow. The girl ushers me inside with a polite grace that perfectly complements her loveliness. Wow, okay, for real, Scary Ilya is incredible. This girl is the Einsburn Master? There's definitely a strong magical aura surrounding her. The amount of magical energy her body holds is simply phenomenal. A being beyond human, a natural-born magic circuit. There's no mistake. This girl too is a homunculus crafted by the hands of the Einsburns. You know, Bazett, she is giving you what you wanted, a conversation. It might be a good idea to just talk. She giggles. Even though she knows that I'm a master, there's not a trace of caution in her. It's almost as if she never saw me as a worthy opponent from the start.
失礼しました。私はバゼット。魔術協会から派遣されたマスターです。ここにはマスターとしてやってきました。それは存じていますわ。森でサーバントと出会ったでしょ。それでもしかしたらやってきたのはあなたかなって。他のマスターたちは間違ってもここにはやってこないから。ようやく来てくれたのかなって喜んでいましたの。
Leah definitely knows a bit more than what she lets on.
Huh?
Her smile is so carefree. My first impression of her could have been off the mark. There's no condescension in the girl's manner. She simply doesn't view me as her enemy.
そうよ。私はあなたと戦う気はないわ。
他のどのマスターとも戦う気はない。私はもうマスターでも何でもないんだもの。
Huh?
あなた以外のマスターはみんなそれを知ってるからこんな森にはやってこないの。
When she says I'm no longer a master, she doesn't mean... Does she mean as in she doesn't consider herself the master of, you know, Heracles? Or is she not? She's not a master? What does this mean?
下がりなさいリズ。バゼットは私と話がしたいみたい。
Really?
森からお化けが入ってこないよう城門を閉めてきて。
Oh, so he's just a wild... Huh.
いいけどイリア本当に大丈夫？いいの。バゼットと二人で話したいんだから。
Huh. She's no longer Berserker's master.
リズ、最近生意気よ。あんまり私に逆らわないで。
Dang. Wow.
リズ、イリアの言う通りにする。
The homunculus called Liz exits past me, without so much as a watchful glance in my direction, as though our fierce battle a few moments ago never took place.
さあ、あなたはこっちよ、バゼット。私と話をしに来たのでしょ。私にわかることなら何だって答えてあげるわ。
The girl descends the stairs and disappears in the far end of the lobby. Still reeling slightly from this completely unexpected turn of events, I take her up on the invitation.
事の顛末は知っているわ。
Oh,
あなたは私の森に入ってき
okay.
て、
Not
お化けに襲われて、
not the
自分のサーバン
circumstances
ト
of
を
what's
取り
going
に
on.
して
Okay.
ここまでやってきた。目的はアインツベルンのマスターを倒すことと、それ以外に知りたいことがあったから。
Okay, no, never mind. You might know everything.
違う？そうでもなければこんな忘れられた城に挑もうとは思わないもの。
The girl calmly lowers herself into a chair, though I declined when offered a seat of my own. Even if she proclaims disinterest in fighting me, this place is still enemy territory. I can't know for certain that she won't make this whole room disappear with the snap of her fingers.
用心深いのね、バゼット。教会の教えなのか、それともそういう性格なのか。ねえ、あなたって敵地じゃお茶も飲まないタイプ？
場合によりますが、ここでは飲みません。あなたの言う通り、私は知りたいことがあってきた。世間話をしに来たわけではありませんから。
そう。残念ね。それじゃお茶の用意は取りやめるわ。要件だけ済ませる方があなたには喜ばれそうだし。
Is this girl really the Einsburn master? I'm beginning to doubt her anew. No, if what she said about no longer being a master is true, she's really not a master at all.
イリアス・フィール、あなたはマスターではないと言いましたが、森にいた巨人はあなたのサーバントではないのですか？
あのお化けは私のサーバントよ。けどアインツベルンのサーバントじゃないわ。
Huh?
ちょっとした手違いで狂っちゃったの。
Huh.
今じゃ聖杯戦争とは関係のない私を守るだけのお化けになっちゃった。
Huh. That's peculiar.
街に現れている怪物とは違うけど同じようなものと思えばいいわ。彼は聖杯戦争には何の関わりもない。この森にやってくるマスターを殺すだけの怪物。
Wait, what?
サーバントでありながらサーバントの役から
役からあぶれた。
Huh.
該当する役回りがなかったからちゃんとした出番を与えられなかったの。
Wait, Ilya. Giving him a Is this the Grail speaking, or is this Ilya?
彼がアインツベルンのサーバントならあんなことにはならなかったでしょうけど。
あの怪物は アインツベルンのサーバントではないと。ではアインツベルンのサーバントはどこにいるのです？
いないわ。だって私他のマスターにサーバントを取られちゃったんだもの。
Wait. The servant summoned by the Einsburns was Angraminyu, right? So was she trying to actually summon Angraminyu?
もうマスターじゃないってそういうこと。
Interesting.
聖杯戦争が始まってから4日目の夜にあっけなくサーバントが殺されてアインツベルンのマスターは敗北したの。あなたのサーバントだってアインツベルンは脱落したって一番初めに知ってたはずよ。
My mind freezes. Avenger knew that the Einsburn master had been defeated. Not that it comes as a surprise. The number of things he's keeping secret from me could fill volumes. I don't trust that suspicious guy at all. This news is hardly enough to shock me. What I find much more strange is...
どうしたの？何か気になることでもあったのかしら。
She giggles. This girl, she knows everything.
イリアス・フィール、その他のマスターに取られたというあなたのサーバント。
あら、知らなかったの？彼の名はアベンジャー。
Yeah.
アンリマユの名を冠する最も古い悪神よ。
With a grating sound, my consciousness distorts. My fist unconsciously closes around the earring in my pocket. After laboring to calm my suddenly ragged breathing, I say,
それはおかしい。アベンジャーなどというクラスは聞いたことがない。第一、アンリマユの名を冠する英霊など存在するはずがない。
finally put into words the question that's haunted me ever since this all began.
もちろんアンリマユなんてものは実在しない。アベンジャーとして召喚されたそれはアンリマユという呼称を語るただの人間だったわ。神話に現れる悪神とは何の関係もない魔術も神秘も知らない一般人。理由もなく偶像に選ばれてその一生を魔として扱われたただの生贄だったのよ。
A fairy tale from a far-off, distant world. Once there existed a people who, distraught by all the strife that had come to be in the world, created for themselves a new world, isolated deep in the mountains. Though they had gathered together in the hopes of living as an embodiment of man's innate goodness, unable to divorce themselves from the evil nature also inherent in man. Doubt and deception, hatred and resentment. No matter how gloriously they sang the praise of human good, evil was still born among them. They decided that someone had to shoulder the blame for the ugliness of the world. This evil was not something that could have been born from within any of them. They themselves had this evil in their nature couldn't be true. The evil of mankind stems from the venom of something demonic which comes to infect us. We must all lead lives of purity and righteousness. Therefore, they required a root of all evil. They required an effigy to bear the weight of all sin. Someone of whom it could be said, it is only you who is evil. So a scapegoat was created to become all the evil in the world, a lone sacrifice.
英霊の中には時々そういうのが混じっているの。
Oh, interesting.
本人は普通に生きたつもりでも死後周りがその生き様を神格化して立てまつり英雄を作り上げるのね。死者は何も語らないから都合のいい役を押し付けても文句を言わない。疑いを知らない善良な人々が信じるには格好の崇拝対象よね。ただ彼の場合はそれがどうすぎていた。人々の崇拝が怒りや憎悪だったからかしら。彼は本物の悪魔として扱われ人々はあらゆる非難を彼に押し付けた。貧困、病、災害、 果ては自分が死んでしまうことへの恐れさえ彼がいるから起こるのだとなじられはけ口にされた。けどそれで人々は救われたの。そういう悪魔がいるなら仕方がないって。嫌なことは全部そいつのせいで自分たちのせいじゃないんだからって。だから彼は死後に英霊として扱われた。その手は何もしなかったし誰に敬われることもなかったけど彼は多くの人々を救ったから。
Why do they keep using he and his in quotation marks? While he still lived, he became a god. While he still lived, he had his human nature taken away. The name he was given at birth was stripped from him. He was spoken of as a great evil.
だから名前はないんだ。
He spoke of it as though it were a trifling matter.
思い出せと言われてももうそんな記録は。
Anywhere in this world anymore, he declared, without a trace of resentment. And in response, your next name was one that you were fondly called as a hero. Even if it is a title, it is a name that gained acclaim from people. Of course you would like it. Would I've ever said such a thing?
それがアベンジャーアンリ・マユという悪性に見立てられた人間ということですか。
そうよ。けど能力の方は点でダメ。彼はアンリマユとして扱われることにはなったけど信仰だけで特別な力がつくわけじゃない。彼は生前も英霊として扱われることになった死後もただの人間だった。まあ名前はベスターから除外されたことで秩序からは自由になったけどそれでも英霊と呼ばれるには点で力不足。サーバントとしては何の役にも立たないゴミだったわ。
ゴミ？
何？いきなりやる気になっちゃって。私を殺しても利益はないのに。あなた見かけによらず危ない人？
Now that she says that, I realize that I'm seething with anger. The girl said wasn't that far off from the mark. It's true that as a heroic spirit, he's incredibly weak. And at first, I did think he was useless. That was only due to my lack of understanding at the time, adding to the fact that it's hard to grasp his good points.
いいえ、私の時は本当に役立たずだったのよ、バゼット。彼が人々の望んだ英霊になるのはもっと後のこと。彼にかけられた願いが成就するまでは無力なまま。宝具の一つも使えない。
No noble phantasm. No, does she mean that he couldn't use his noble phantasm while he was the Einsburn servant? This doesn't add up. The Einsburn girl whose servant was taken away. If he was taken, that would make me the one who took him. About this, there can be no mistake. I didn't have the first idea how I was able to usurp the contract from her. It seems that this girl's contract with Avenger was switched with mine. So then, what does the death on the fourth day signify? Well, you see, in Japanese culture, 4 symbolizes death, so... No, being taken away is not the same as dying. This girl's talking about multiple conclusions at once.
いなくなった私のサーバントの話なんていいでしょ。それよりあなたのサーバントの話が聞きたいわ、バゼット。魔術協会に選ばれたあなたですもの。さぞ巧妙な英霊を召喚したんでしょ。
いえ、私のサーバント。
Avenger, I was gonna say, but hesitated before my mouth could shape the words. It's partly because I'm the one she said took him from her. But on top of that, I can't shake the feeling that she's lying to me about something.
私のサーバントは？
別にマスターで亡くなったあなたに話すことでもない。それにもう
He's already long dead. When I arrived at this castle, all response from Avengers ceased. He's already returned to the first night, and there he waits for me to awaken, just like always.
そうだ。それが彼の能力だ。
Be reborn even from death. No, to start over from the first day when we are still alive. which means the girl before my eyes must already know about his ability to rewind.
イリアス・フィール、アベンジャーは宝具を使えなかったと言いましたね。それはどちらの話ですか？アベスターか、それとも。
何の話だか分かりませんけど、そのどちらも使えなかったでしょうね。言ったでしょ、アベンジャーは役に立たない道具だったって。
So this must mean that the Einsburn Master knows nothing at all about Avenger's noble phantasm. Never mind Avesta, his ability to resurrect from the dead far surpasses even other noble phantasms. There's just no way anyone who's experienced that power firsthand would summarily dismiss him as useless.
そうですね。アベンジャーの話だとしても仕方がない。本題に入りましょう、イリアス・フィール。あなたはこの聖杯戦争をどう感じていますか？
さあ、私はとっくに仲間外れですもの。もう聖杯戦争に興味はないわ。すでに終わったことですし。
町に現れている使い魔たちも知らないと？
知らないわ。言ったでしょ、私は仲間外れなの。でもそうね、あの怪物たちが町にあふれるのは今夜までよ。始まってから今日までの4日間しかあの怪物たちは存在できない。
Came up again. Another link to the period of 4 days. I searched for clues relating to that was what originally brought me here tonight.
イリアス・フィール、これは私のサーバントの能力なのですが。
I tell her with a certain conviction of all that has happened so far. Rebirth from death, the endlessly restarting Holy Grail War. Well, that's not it. About my servant and I, who, no matter how many times we repeat them, cannot move beyond these 4 days.
聖杯戦争を繰り返している。そうなんだ。あなたにはそう感じる。いいえ、あなたたちだけとどまっているのね。
Only ones? Huh. We're the only ones who are confined. She's right in saying that. Well, because I guess Shiro isn't, because it's for him, it's the alternate timelines, right? And he just catches glimpses of the stuff happening otherwise. Even from the perspective of the girl who cannot rewind, the 4th day will be followed by a 5th. The two of us must return to the 1st day. We're standing in the middle of a vast river called Time, never moving downstream from where we stand, going back upstream again and again.
あなたはそれを解決しに来たのね。聖杯戦争を止めて4日目を超えたいと。
いや、私はただ。
I haven't the slightest desire to stop the Holy Grail War. I only want to know for certain why this boundary of 4 repeating days confines us as it does.
違うの？なら何がしたいの？あなたは。今のままじゃ永遠に。
Eternal what? No, all I want is to win this abnormal Holy Grail War and fulfill the duty I was sent here for.
そう。サーバントとの契約を切るのなら手を貸すこともできるけど、そっちの問題は管轄外よ。言ったでしょ、私は仲間外れだって。私、この城から出る気はないの。あなたの聖杯戦争がどうしてそんなことになったのか、それを調べられるのはあなただけよ、バゼット。
The girl rises from her seat. Leisville moves toward the lobby, so she's lost all interest in me.
おやすみなさい、バゼット。あなたの話が本当なら今夜でまた戻るんでしょ？それまで城にいるといいわ。森に出たらお化けに殺されてしまうもの。今夜は星が綺麗よ。せっかく一人になったんだから、よく考えてみることね。あなたは何がしたかったのか。本当にその違和感を解決してしまっていいのかを。
I leave the winter castle behind me. I refuse the girl's offer. Even if in the forest I do encounter that monster and my defeat at its hands, I simply can't stay here passing the time in tranquility all by myself. She said the sky is remarkably clear. While gazing up at the countless number of stars overhead, think of him. The one who doubtlessly replied with something sarcastic like, "How can they be countless? If you can see him, you can count him too. If he were here."
どうして4日で終わるのかではなく、どうしてそんなことになったのかを知るべきだ。
The rewinding ability isn't Avenger's noble phantasm. I do remember him having said so. Then this was a special bonus from him having made a contract with me. What did he mean by a special bonus? If this isn't a noble phantasm, I asked myself, then just what kind of miracle could make this possible? A wish-granting magic vessel. I deny the answer that rises to the surface of my mind.
アベンジャーは信用できない。私は私のできることをするだけだ。
That's it. Next time, I'll go out into the town during the day while he sleeps. Oh! Avenger is incapable of action during daylight hours. I myself have no restrictions. Although I've avoided going out during the day thus far, it's not as though I'm a vampire or anything of that sort.
冬木の魔術師、遠坂とマト、それに前回生き残ったエミやキリツ。
Hold up. Wait a moment. Huh? What? What? Are we in the past? I'm gonna take action. Why not start from there? Keeping it quiet for my servant, I will go out into the town. Once again, I feel an unnecessary pain in my chest. It would have been so much better if I truly couldn't trust him. Because I want to believe in him. I'm hiding things from him and seeking out the truth. Well, okay, no, he did survive last time. She just doesn't know about Shiro. Okay. Right. She doesn't know that he died. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Well, something I was gonna say and didn't was that I actually, because I was curious, I checked the Eclipse menu. And under the Eclipse menu, with adult content turned on, I did see that I actually do have sabers unlocked. Hey, we got a new one here. Oh, cool.
リーゼリットの獲物ハルバート。 RPG でもおなじみの斧付きの長装ね。こういうヘンテコエポンの解説はあんたに譲るわ。
いいのか？
任せた。
いいだろう。引き受けた。不装ハルバートは見ての通り、突く、切る、叩くの機能が考えられるが、その性能は通常の槍、剣、斧に比べれば大きく劣る。この武器は相手の姿勢を崩し、もっぱら転倒を誘うことに特化している。要はとどめを刺せる状態を作り出そうとするものだ。刃先の形状によっては馬上の敵を引きずり落とすのにも向く。その用途においては本来扱いやすい武器なのだが、しかしこのハルバートは度を超えている。第一に人間が振り回せる重量ではない。まさに人外の武器だ。理性的なサーバントが手にしたならば非合理と判断しすぐに放棄するだろう。徒手空拳で戦った方がマシだ。だがこれを握るのはアインツベルンのホムンクルスなのだ。彼らは疲労を知らず、旅力はサーバントに匹敵する。いや、単純な比較では凌駕するだろう。しかしその脅威はまた別のものだな。一見この不装は白間を飾るアンティークを模しているようだが、アインツベルンの最新の技術が用いられているのは間違いない。様々な魔術特性も付与されているのも無論だ。ことに彼ら人造人形が様々な武器、あるいは 宝具を持つ相手と対峙する可能性を考えたならば、その武器は切れ味よりも強靭性を、すなわち打ち合いしのぎ勝つことに重点を置かれて鍛えられていることだろう。攻める
Ah.
ための防具というわけだ。
攻める防具とはまさに矛盾。
Was that a pun?
うん。となれば、その素材にふさ
Look
わ
at
し
her
くは
go.
戦車の鉄鋼弾などに使用されるタングステン鋼だが、それよりも優れた金属がある。レニウムだ。
Rhenium. Hey, let's play the game of Is That Real? Rhenium. Oh, it is. It is atomic number 75. With an estimated concentration of 1 part per billion, rhenium is one of the rarest elements in the Earth's crust. Alright, it's just a cool Wikipedia entry.
レニウムはタングステンと比べてはるかに希少で高価だが、この際それは問題となるまい。ライン川の名に由来するというこの金属を主体とする合金はタングステンの強靭を上回る。バランスを度外視した人工人形にはまさにうってつけだ。
そんなに重いの？
とてつもなく。比重は実に鉄の3倍だ。鉛や黄金よりも重い。そんな白兵武器の打撃を想像できるか？いや、できまい。敵の判断を誤らせるにはそれのみでも十分だ。
Yeah, I could see why.
一見華奢にも映る人造人形が人類の戦士にない未知の武具を振るう。これがいかに恐怖を駆り立てるか。
まるでたった今果たし合いを済ませてきたかのように語るのね。
いや、そういう武器があったら夢があると心を遊ばせてみたまでだ。
That was cute. So yeah, as I was saying, I did actually unlock Saber's Eclipse scene. I will hold off on those until I unlock more. My plan will be to run through kind of as many of them as I can, kind of consecutively, including the ones that I can't show. I will read them and get back to you on my feelings. So that is the plan. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I expected shenanigans and I got nothing close. We'll see you next time for some more Fate Hollow Ataraxia. Ciao!